Welcome back to Hannity as we continue with more of the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich, the complete media hysteria meltdown, and the alliance to destroy President Trump. Joining us now with reaction, he is the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, and former deputy campaign manager for Donald Trump. He's also for the president of Citizens United, Fox News contributor David Bossie. Guys, good to see you both. All right, Jay, let's start with the Seth Rich issue, Jay, and the timeline here. And, you know, WikiLeaks, say what you will about Julian Assange, he hasn't been wrong in 11 years. Nobody's proven him wrong. He's been defiant. It's not Russia, not Russia. He defended this guy, as we just played in the last segment, on Dutch TV. And then you look at the timeline, and then you look at earlier reports. Is it possible that this whole Russian narrative was, and the leaks really came from a DNC staffer, and that the media has been wrong for almost a year?
Well, Sean, the media has not been right yet. So the presumption should be that the media is wrong with where they're laying the blame on the leaks that are going on now. So I think the fact is that when you look at evidence, and this is a timeline, as you mentioned, that is troubling to say the least. And I think it raises a serious issue and a serious concern that our national security is being jeopardized in ways we don't fully understand. But I think the media narratives on this and trying to blame the president for all this is proving to be false every single moment of every single day.
Dave Bossie, what's your reaction to all of it?
Well, look, Sean, you're exactly right. The media is out to get this president. They are playing gotcha politics every single day in and day out. The people in the room over this last leak, the people in the room have said that the president did everything by the book, that none of the information was about sources and methods, and that they share information all the time. Look, this is continuous, the permanent campaign against President Trump by the Democrats and by the media.
Yeah. All right, Jay, let me give you an example. So you know, if we look about the sabotage of a president, so the Washington Post breaks this big story, oh my God, Donald Trump. Wouldn't he, as president, first of all, have, as commander-in-chief, the ability to share whatever he thought was necessary, in spite of the fact that, as Dave is pointing out, okay, everybody in the room says no. And then you go to their sources. And what do we find once again? Their sources are questionable, just like they were last week when they got they got two issues wrong, that Rod Rosenstein threatened to quit. Rod Rosenstein said in an interview with a D.C. station, no, he didn't threaten to quit. You know, according to current and U.S. officials. Okay, who are the former officials? If they weren't in the room, what information do they have? Or the issue of, well, Comey quit just before he asked for more money for the investigation into Russia, and that was denied by Andrew McCabe.
Sure. Well, first of all, the president has the constitutional rights, the commander-in-chief. So he could, assuming for the purpose of argument that the president discussed security information of a significant nature with the Russians, guess what? No crime. He has the constitutional authority to do it. The Supreme Court has said so in the Department of the Navy versus Egan in 1988. An opinion by not a conservative member of the court there, an opinion by Justice Blackmun. That's number one. Number two, reports have been indicating all day that, in fact, this information came from possibly Israeli sources, who, by the way, do intelligence sharing with guess who? The Russians. So we're acting as if discussions about issues of, in this case, civilian aviation are somehow to be not discussed with Russia or the Israelis? That's absurd. So, again, if they write this headline to create a fabricated story, and everybody in the room denies its truthfulness, but at the end of the day, even if it was true, which it's not, it would be, so what? The president has this authority.
So last night, Jay, all right, I agree. But last night, the media goes hysterical. They're breathless. They're reporting.
Yes.
And, you know, earlier tonight, I see the same thing unfolding. Hyperventilating.
Yeah.
Then I see the New York Times today. I hope you can let this go, meaning the investigation or to end the Flynn investigation that the president said to James Comey. Now, James Comey's bitter. James Comey got fired. James Comey maybe wrote a memo, maybe he didn't. But is it wrong for the president to say the words, I hope you can let this go? Is there anything illegal about that? Or
no, that's not intervening. No. That's not intervening in the investigation. So, look, James Comey's credibility, let's, first of all, let's talk. I don't care what memo James Comey wrote. At this point, is there anyone that's watching this or in anywhere that can believe anything that James Comey is saying about any of these matters? I mean, really, not a credible witness.
Dave?
No, he's exactly right. James Comey lost his credibility long ago, and it had to do with Hillary Clinton. Let's not forget that the Democrats were hyperventilating about James Comey themselves, in July and in October before the election, and they all wanted him fired then. And then, of course, the president fires him. And the president knows that it is going to make things worse for him by doing the right thing for the American people.
Right.
That's important here. Lester Holt lied last week when he said, the president said he didn't care. Well, of course, he continued to say, I don't care that it is going to make it worse for me when the American people need this man fired, need new leadership at the Bureau. And the president put that first ahead of himself.
It's funny.
And, of course, Lester Holt turned that around.
Well said. All right, guys, good to see you both.
Yeah.
When we come back.
Thanks, Sean.